continue saying, once again, verse 16, now the glory of the Lord rested on Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it 6 days. And on the seventh day, he called to Moses out of the midst of the cloud. The sight of the glory of the Lord was like a consuming fire on the top of the mountain in the eyes of the children of Israel. This is God's glory that's like a raging or a consuming fire. It's His external glorious light before which no human being can stand and live. But this is not the glory that the first angel's message is describing. Really, the type of glory that the first angel's message is describing is something else that has to do with the internal glory of God, if I can call it that. It's not talking about His radiant external light. It's talking about His internal glory. You see, God's external glory is simply an announcement of another glory that He has deep within, a spiritual glory that He has deep within. It's kind of like Adam and Eve. You know, they were covered with a glorious robe of light, but that glorious robe of light represented their character, their holiness, their innocence, their obedience to the law of God. And so God's radiant glory is really an external manifestation of His inward character, His mercy, His love, His truth, His faithfulness, His goodness. Now, in order to understand what the glory of God is and how we can give glory to God, we want to study a little bit about Moses. Did you know that Moses is a type or an illustration of Jesus? Notice the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 18 and verse 18. Deuteronomy chapter 18 and verse 18. By the way, these verses are all on the sheets so you can follow along very easily. It says there in Deuteronomy 18 verse 18, I will raise up for them, God is speaking, a prophet like you, that is like Moses, from among their brethren, and will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak to them all that I command him. Notice that God is promising that He's going to raise up for Israel a prophet like Moses. We're going to find a little bit later on that that prophet like Moses actually is none less than Jesus Christ. Now let's study a few things about Moses who foreshadows or illustrates or symbolizes Jesus Christ who would come later in history. Moses was at the top of Mount Sinai. And actually he had spent quite a long period there. And I want you to notice Exodus chapter 33 and verse 18, the request that Moses made to God. Exodus 33 and verse 18. And he said, please, he's speaking to God, please show me your glory. What did Moses want to see? He wanted to see God's glory. So you would think that what God would do is take away the veil and show him His radiant, unapproachable light. But that's not what God showed Moses. You see, what God showed Moses was not His external, glorious, radiant light, His robe of light. What He showed him was His character. Notice Exodus 33 and verse 19. The very next verse says, then he said, God is speaking, I will make all my goodness pass before you,